Yeah, welcome to the session, guys. So yesterday, what we have discussed is we have discussed on the load balancer. So what is the load balancer and what is the purpose of the load balancer? How the load will be distributed in the backend pools? What is the front end pool? What is the health probe? So those are the concepts we have discussed in the load balancer perspective. In that, at the end of the session, there is a lab session planned, but in the we thought to continue the lab session today. So in that lab session there is a concept of application gateway. So today we will be discussing about what is an application gateway in the theory perspective, and tomorrow we will be performing the lab combining both load balancer and application gateway. So one more thing is today we will be going only through the theory concept because I have switched my laptop, so I'll make the things ready for tomorrow. So today we will be discussing on the what is an application gateway. So consider a see, application gateway is similarly to the same as an load balancer. So what is an application and what is a gateway? So application is nothing but it is a place where we will be hosting our code and we will be accessing over the internet. So what is then application gateway? Okay, let us I'll try to give an example. Okay, let me open my paint window here. Okay, so I have opened my paint. So in this what I will try to do is, so let us consider there is an application. So consider this is an application where generally there is a driving license application. Okay, this is consider this is a AP transport related application. So in this API transport application, many people will be trying to enroll the licenses. They will be renewing the licenses. So whenever there is a due date, let's say 30th is a due date. Let's say today this is November month. So 30 November is the due date for this complete year. So what happens is generally, as per the mindset of the people, what they will be doing, they will be ideally renewing their license on the last 10 to 15 days. So if there is a grace period of let's say 1st November, the site will be opening, and then it will be available till 30 November. So what the generally suppose there are around 30,000 population. So 30,000 population needs to enroll their licenses or renew their licenses. So what an ideal scenario, how they have created this website is, per day they can handle 1,000 load. So if it is 1,000 load, then it is into 30. So they will be meeting the requirement. So this is the ideal case scenario how it was designed. So they will be meeting their load, like per day 30,000 people will be logging into the website, and then they will be renewing their licenses. But what will happen is, so generally as per the mindset of the people, they first 20 days they will not do anything. So let's say from 21st of November they will be starting the working on that, and then we have around 10 days. So but the application that you have designed will not able to handle it. So how you will be handle this traffic, and how, so if all the people will be trying to access this application in the last 10 days, what happens, the site will be crashed, and then you will be not able to access the site. So in order to avoid these failures, and if you there is a ultimate load happening, then you need to have some mechanism in place. So you can use a load balancer. So load balancer is one type, and application gateway you can also use. So what is the difference between load balancer and application gateway, we will be discussing at the end of the session. So you will be coming to a clear idea of what is an application gateway. Then you only will be telling what is the differences between here. Okay, let me increase the size here, some 16. Okay, I'll put, okay. Now, so coming to the application gateway. 1 second, I'll plug in the charger. Okay, so coming to the application gateway. So application gateway is also will be doing the same purpose of a load balancer. It also will be routing the load to the backend pools and everything. The concept will be everything same, but application gateway is more advanced. So it can read what is the type of the traffic that is incoming, and it can be based, it can route the traffic also. Let's say I will tell you an example. So there are two cases here of this AP transport department. First case is they will be applying the fresh license. So fresh license. And the second case is they will be renew the license. renewal of license. So these are the two scenarios. So now what happens is, now suppose you Dilip is a developer. So what he will do for two cases, he has designed two APIs. So for in the API URL, it will be like, give me a second. So this how these two APIs how he has designed is, let's say HTTPS. This is the URL name, the techwithus.com. So techwithus.com, and the end he will be adding few controllers and the methods. So this is like some URL. How will he will add is license. It is some controller license, and then he will be adding the method like fresh. Then he will add some like what is the ID, some ID, random ID. So this is the one API he has developed, and the second API how he has developed is HTTPS. Sorry, https://techwithus.com/ controller is same controller, license controller, and then he is adding like renewal slash, and the ID he is passing the same thing. So in the both cases, what is the difference is, here in the method name it is a fresh method, and here it is like renewal method. So your application, you have installed now an application gateway in front of it. Okay, I will install an application gateway here. Where is this? So this is the application gateway that I have installed now here. So I will give this name as application gateway. Okay, so in the application gateway we can provide some parameters like based on these parameters it will act in an intelligence manner. How we can provide is, we can route the traffic. So see, whatever application gateway or load balancer, both will be serve the same purposes. It is like routing the traffic so that my backend will not be disturbed. So what are the servers, backend servers, that those things will not be disturbed. So in the application gateway there will be method like path based routing. So path based routing is nothing but, so in the application gateway, and now what I will do, instead of one server I will place two servers here. Okay, I will come here. This is my server 1 and this is my server 2. Okay, consider this is my server 1, and this is my server 2. Okay, so now what happens is, this how I have designed my backend is, server 1 will handle fresh licenses, whereas server 2 will handle renewal licenses. Okay, so now my application gateway, what it should do, what are the fresh licenses, it should route the traffic to the server 1, whereas renewal licenses, it should route the traffic to the server 2. So in my application gateway, how I will configure the things is, here we can give these options like when the URL is containing /fresh/*, so then you route the traffic, all the traffic to the server 1. If the URL is containing /renewal/*, then what happens is, whatever the traffic that is coming to the application gateway, if it is containing this URL, what it does is, it will route the traffic to the server 2, whereas the traffic that is containing fresh, it will route the URL to the server 1. Okay, someone is trying to join, let me check. Okay, yeah, sorry. So this is how this path based routing also will be happening, and we will be discussing few more concepts. The main thing you should understand is, the application gateway is also a Azure service that is provided to route the traffic to the backend pools. So how this routing will happen, everything, it is defined of the set of the rules that we have created from our side in the application gateway. Okay, let me go to the main concept of core concepts here. Okay, application gateway, let me switch to the pointer mode here. So application gateway manages the request that client application sends to the web app. So web app is nothing but the backend pool what you are hosting. So you can host your VM, you can host your VMSs, or you can host your servers, anything, or you can host your web applications. So the client application, that is nothing but the browser, whatever the request that is coming, it will pass through the application gateway, and from application gateway it will reach to the pool. So what is this listener, and then what is this HTTP settings, we will discuss now in the upcoming 5 to 10 minutes. The application gateway uses application layer routing. So it is nothing but based on the application levels, like in what I have discussed in the previous example, like so fresh license and then you can renewable license. Based on the application layer itself, you can it will route the traffic. So application layer routing routes traffic to the pool of web servers based on the URL of the request. URL in the sense like fresh license or renewable license, based on the example I have taken. The backend pool means backend pool is nothing but the destinations where it is trying to hit. So the destinations might contain Azure Virtual Machines, it might contain or Azure Virtual Machine scale sets or Azure App Service or even on-premises service also. We can point the backend pools, any of the things we can onboard into the backend pool, and we can map the backend pool to our application gateway. So what happens is the traffic that is coming to the back application gateway, it will route based on the need that is the user is requesting for. So from the browser perspective. So this is the main point that you should consider. Next, the application gateway uses round robin method. So hope we have discussed about the round robin method. I think it need not to be explained, or else just I'll give a quick overview. So if consider there are 3 web servers, I'll discuss it in a very less than a minute. Okay, consider here. Okay, I'll consider this example only. So if there are 3 persons. Let us consider person 1, person 2, and person 3. So now first what happens is, now person 1 is sending the request. Okay, person 1 is sending the request to the application gateway. So how the round robin method will work is, first it will send to the server 1, and then second person is also sending the request. Then the second request will be routed to the server 2. If third person is trying to send the request, then it will send the request to the server 1, because it should follow the round robin method. So 1 2 1 2 1 2. This is the way how it will be followed to route the traffic. So as of now, I consider only 2 servers here, but in live scenarios, it will be like many instances and many web apps that are running on the live basis. So that is a round robin method and a quick overview. And then as we discussed here, application gateway uses round robin method to send load balancer requests to the servers in the each backend pool. The application gateway provides session stickiness. Okay, we didn't discuss the session stickiness, right? Okay, session stickiness is nothing but, so whatever the server, whatever the URL that is requesting, it should send the response. It should get the response from the backend pool, and then it should send the response to the same client that has requested for. Okay, I will tell you here. So first let us consider here, I'll consider here, suppose Vinay is here, and then here I am considering Dilip here, and I'll consider here Sai. Okay, consider 3 persons are there. So you forget as of now this URL based routing. So what happens is, let's say Vinay is trying to do some transaction. So what happens is he will initiate a connection with the application gateway, and the application gateway will behind it will initiate the connection to the server 1. So what happens is, this session stickiness is nothing but this session should be active until unless the client has disconnected his system or his work is done. So what happens is, here when I will initiate a request to the application gateway, and then he will the application gateway will contact the server. So this session should be active until unless when I disconnect it. So and then after then what happens is, after some time Dilip will be coming here, and then he will make a request, and then it will send to server 2. So this session also should be active until unless the user closes it. And then Sai, if he is making the another request and is establishing one more connection, okay, application gateway will initiate one more connection. So connection 1, connection 2 initiated by Dilip, and connection 3 initiated by Sai. So these all the 3 connections should be active. So this is nothing but session stickiness. So you can see here, use session stickiness to ensure client requests in the same session are routed to the same backend server. So it's nothing but what are the information that is passing in and out should be done on the same connection. So that's it. I mean in the same session. So that is the session stickiness. Coming to the application gateway routing. So as routing is the main and primary thing that should be considered. So application gateway routing, how it will be performed and everything, so we will be discussing now. Okay. So okay, client sends request to your web apps to the IP address or DNS name of the gateway. Okay, so now how you are sending a request? Suppose Vinay is sending the request. So Vinay is not sending directly to the server. So he is sending to request to the application gateway. It means that Vinay should be knowing the IP address of the application gateway. Then only he can able to hit that particular IP. I mean particular application gateway. So that is nothing but the same it is sending. Client sends request to the your web apps to the IP address or DNS name of the gateway. That is the first point. The gateway routes request to the selected web server in the backend pool using the set of rules configured for the gateway to determine whether where the request should go. So first action is you should hit the gateway with the help of IP address or the DNS name. That is the action that should be done from your end. The second action is the gateway routes request to the selected web server in the backend pool using a set of rules configured for the gateway. So based on the rules that you have configured, it will select the backend pool web server and it will route the request. So there are two primary methods of routing traffic. One is path-based routing and second thing is the multiple site routing. So path-based routing I have already given an example, but I will tell you once again here as I has joined bit late. So consider a website like contoso.com. So let's say or techwithus.com, let's say. So in this you have one application gateway installed and in this application gateway, so I will discuss what is web application firewall and L7 load balancer. We will discuss a little later. Coming to as of now, you can say this is one application gateway that they have installed and then in the backend they have configured two server pools. One is image server pool and the other thing is the web video server pool. Now what happens is, if suppose now here there are three persons, consider Vinay is there here and Dilip is there here and Mohidar is there here. Okay. Now what happens is, Vinay is trying to access some images. So you wanted to access some images that he has uploaded. Dilip is trying to access videos and then Mohidar also is trying to access some images. Now what will happen is, so whenever they try to, suppose Vinay is trying to access images, he will directly enter the image URL, but in the URL it will consist of definitely the method images /images/star. So what happens is, the application gateway will understand like, okay, Vinay is trying to access the images based on the URL he has requested, then it will route the request to the image server pool. He will get the information and then that information will be redirected back to the Vinay. Similarly, if Dilip is trying to access, it will route the request to the video server pool and it will get the data and it will send back to the Dilip. Whereas coming to Mohidar, same, Mohidar is trying to access the images. First he will try to hit the web application gateway with the help of the public IP address of the application gateway. Then it will route the request to the images server pool and then it will get back the data and then it sends back to the Mohidar again. So this is how the path-based routing will work. Path-based routing is nothing but it is based on the path that you have mentioned in your URL. So the requested URL. So this is how the path-based routing works. Second concept is multiple site routing. Okay, we will go there now. Okay, multiple site routing is nothing but, so it routes the traffic based on the site itself, like techwithus.com, contoso.com, fabricam.com or flipkart.com, amazon.com. So based on the site name itself, it will route the traffic to the particular site. So let's say you have taken one Azure account and you have installed two applications on that. So one is Vinay has developed the application and let's say Dilip has developed the application. So when I wanted to, so whatever the traffic that is coming to the application developed by Vinay, he wanted to route the traffic completely instead of based on the URLs. I mean path-based routing. So he will directly specify, like he will specify his domain name itself here, and then in the domain name, whatever the request that is coming to the domain name, it will automatically route the traffic to his pool of servers. Whereas other user who is trying to get the traffic from other site, then he will configure a backend pool and then he will specify in the application gateway settings like what are the request that is hitting this particular site, you route the traffic to the other backend pool. So this is how we can do that. For this what you need to do is, you should register multiple DNS names for the IP address of application gateway, specifying the name of each site. Application gateway specifies separate listeners to wait for the request. Okay, now there is a concept of listeners. What is the listeners is, so listeners is nothing but it is like a type of agent that is present in the application gateway. So what is the work of the listener is, it will wait for the whatever the requests that are coming. So whether the request is coming with the contoso.com URL or whether the request is coming from the fabricam.com domain. So based on the request that is coming, those listeners will route the traffic. So listeners is nothing but the agents that is doing the work on behalf of the application gateway. So each and every separate listeners will wait for the request for the site. Each listener passes the request to the different rule, which can route the traffic to the servers in the different backend pool. So based on this backend pool URLs, the multiple site routing will be done. So this is nothing but multiple site routing. So what are the other features are redirection. So redirection can be used to another site or from HTTPS. This redirection also you can do in the application gateway. So redirect HTTP headers. So you can redirect the HTTP headers. So suppose there is a header like let's say image ID. So if you wanted to rewrite the URL, so you can rewrite that HTTP headers also. You can do this in application gateway. And if there are custom error pages, okay, suppose if you are trying to hit some application, let's say techwiththis.com. For some time what happened is, okay, I will go to here. So for some time what happens is there is a maintenance mode and whole license site is down. So then what happens is it will hit some 400 error or it cannot handle. So whereas in application gateway you can configure some custom error page. Okay, if suppose my backend pool is not reachable, then this custom error page will be displayed to the user. Okay, that backend pool, that server is busy, so you can wait up, go and you can wait for some time and come back and check those. Or some you can get some game, like it will you can play some game in the HTML page. So those type of pages can be displayed. So these are all things you can configure in the application gateway instead of writing some custom code in your web app or web application. So these type of error handling also you can do with the help of the application gateway. So I mean it is nothing but the custom error page that you can design, whether it in HTML or plain CSS, you can do anything. Coming to the components of the application gateway. So what are the application gateway components are? So here you can see different components that are being listed. So we will go each and every component one by one. So all these okay, as of now you are having any queries or any doubts till now? I'll take pause for a second.
Banu, like the overview, can you please give me an overview, like in a short description? Why application gateway?
See, application gateway is nothing but it is like it is also similar to a load balancer, but application gateway is more precise to route your traffic. Okay, so it is nothing but a route your traffic from front end to the back end pool based on the rules that you have set. So it can do in a two ways, path based routing and multi-site routing. Okay, so simple, you can consider like it is like a routing that you are doing to forward your traffic from the front end to the back end to distribute the load. You are clear, Vinay?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay, then we'll go ahead. As you have seen here, application gateway, here we have front end, and then you have listener in the back, listener, and then you have rule here. You have the backend pool, HTTP setting, custom probe. So we will explain each and every concept one by one. On the high level, what is here is any your request you are coming, it will hit the front end, and based on the listeners in the application gateway, it will verify whether any port you are connecting or through any certificate you are making the authentication. So the listener will communicate with the rule, and it will forward the traffic from the front end to the back end. So back end pool, it will forward your traffic. What is this custom probe is? It will check whether your backend pool is active or not using the HTTP setting. So it is on a high level, this is a simple diagram where you can understand the everything concept. So now we will go each and everything one by one. So what is a front end IP address? So client requests are received through a front end IP address. So it is nothing but you can whatever the requests that are coming, that are initiated by the users or clients, so those requests will be coming to the front end IP address. So you can configure application gateway to have, okay, you can specify application gateway by a public IP address or a private IP address, or you can specify both the things, but you cannot use more than one public or one private address. So this is the limitation. And coming to the listeners, application gateway uses one or more listeners to receive income request. So as we have already discussed what is a listener and everything, hope you understand those things. So I'll explain once again. A listener is nothing but it accepts traffic arriving on a specified combination of protocol, port, host and IP address. So each listener routes request to the backend pool of servers following routing rules. It is nothing but it will carry the forward your request from front end to the backend. So listeners also handles TLS SSL certificates for securing your application between the user and application gateway. So whether your requested URL is really in a secure manner or not. So how it will handle is through the listeners. So it will handle, it will validate your TLS and SSL certificates for securing your application. And coming to the routing rules. So routing rules is nothing but it is binds the listener to the backend pools. So based on the rules that you have specified, the listener will listen to that particular rule and it will send the request to your backend pools. So this encryption and all the things will be handled in the routing rules itself. So, and some important configuration informations include like session stickiness, connection training, and then request timeout period and health probes. So these are all the things that comes into the under the routing rules. And coming to the backend pools, as you already know, whatever the destination are VMs or Azure App Services, those are all the things we will be placing under the backend pools, and then we will be trying to hit them through the application gateways. So these are nothing but the backend pools, and each and backend pool we can specify set of virtual machines, or a virtual machine scale set, or any app are hosted in the Azure App Services, or a collection of on-premise services. Any of the things you can place them in the backend pools. So this is how the load balancer will distribute the work across the pool. And coming to the web application firewall. Okay, this is an important topic. Like, what is WAF? So web application firewall is nothing but an optional component. It is like an optional, whether you can add it or not, it is up to you. What is the functionality is, it handles the incoming request before they reach to the listener. So if there are any, it is like a one check that we have included between the application gateway before the action being performed and then the user that is sending the request. Okay, I will switch to the paint, then you can understand clearly. Okay, so consider I am a user, and then here this is my application gateway, and here it is my backend pool. So here what is the flow ideally is, user will hit the application gateway. Okay, let's put some black color. Okay, user will hit the application gateway. In this application gateway there will be a listener. So listener, we will be have a set of rules here. So first what happens is, okay, now I will select this again. Once the request is reached to your application gateway, first your listener will capture the request, and then it will check whether the some rules, what are the rules that are there, and then it will forward the request based on the rules to your backend pool. This is how it will be happening. Now, okay, I'll just name those things. Here is my user. This is my application gateway, and this is my listener here. Listener, this is my set of rules that I have here, and this is my backend pool. Okay, this is my backend pool. So this is how some flow that I am trying to depict here. So here, before the listener is capturing, we can install one more server of like say a layer of security like WAF. WAF is nothing but web application firewall. Web application firewall. So in using this web application firewall, you can have a filter. You can apply one more layer of filter to the before the listener is capturing the whatever the request that the client has sent. Client is nothing but the user, whatever the user has sent. So that level of filtering we can achieve in the web application firewall. So in web application firewall, what are the type of attacks that you can detect is, see, the web application firewall checks each request from common threads based on the open web application security project. So this is nothing but some protocol that is designed. So this will validate each and every request whether there are any threats are there or not in the request. So common threats include like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, command injection, and HTTP request smuggling, HTTP request response splitting, remote file inclusions, bots, crawlers, scanners, and HTTP protocol violations and anomalies. So these are all the things. These are all the things which will be detected in the web application firewall. So by including a web application firewall, so you can protect your application from being attacked by any vulnerabilities from the outside things. And there are, if any massive uploads are happening, you can suppose if there is a 1 GB of file that user is trying to upload. So what happens is it will initiate generally in other scenarios, what happens is it will try to upload, and after some time it fails. Whereas if in the web application file, it automatically tell like, so this is the limit that is there in it, so you cannot go behind it. So that type of things also you can get those things. So additionally, you can see that you can customize the firewall to specify which elements in a request to examine and limit the size of the message to prevent from massive uploads from overwhelming your servers. So these are all the things you can take care using the web application firewall. Coming to the health probes. So already we have discussed yesterday regarding the health probes. Health probes is nothing but it will initiate a request to your backend pool and it will get the response. Based on the response, if it is like 200 and everything, it will validate, okay, it is fine. Or else if it is not thing, it will think like it is unhealthy and it will deallocate the web server. The same thing it will happen in the application gateway also. So these are nothing but the health probes. Okay. For today I have this content actually, guys. So by tomorrow we will be ready with the lab and then we will be doing the hands-on, a few hands-on. If you are having any queries, you can ask me for today. So we have today 40 session of the minute, 40 minutes for the class. Hope you are clear on what is an application gateway.
Yes, same as like load balancer.
Yeah, load balancer, but there are a few extra more facilities with this.
Okay.